happened with the countdown there again, but whatever. Happy New Year's, everyone. This is the AL Central Rundown, and with me today is Lee, Dan, Ty, and Sam. And this is our first episode back in 2026. We haven't been on in 2 weeks, and we have missed exactly nothing. Pretty much. Up until about an hour ago, the division, since we last recorded and dropped something, has acquired 5 players. And in 2025, those players cumulatively acquired negative .9 baseball reference WAR between those 5 players. A lot of that was Orlando Arcia, but not exactly high voltage moves have happened. But the good news is the Royals saved us because they extended their manager, Matt Quatraro, who I literally needed, 10 different pronunciation coachings before I hit record here. But yeah, they just signed Matt Quatraro for 3 more years in Kansas City. Sam, is this good? Is this bad? What is this?
Well, I'll give you a solid B on your pronunciation there.
Yes.
I have no problem re-signing Quatraro to a deal. I think he's done pretty well as a manager over his 3 seasons in Kansas City so far. He has done a lot with a little. And I think that is a valuable trait to have in a manager. So I like the move. I like keeping him around. I think J.J. Piccolo and Quatraro are a pretty good duo as GM and manager. They're a lot better than Dayton Moore and Mike Matheny, who was the previous duo. So anything that's better than that, really, anything better than Mike Matheny, I'll take at this point. But I do like the move to keep him around for another 3 years, club option for another year. So let's keep him around. Should be signed up for, I think it's until 2029. So good move, and let's see some more of Q in the Royals dugout.
See, I was just about to sign that. Not only am I not the only one who struggles, his nickname on Baseball Reference is literally the letter Q. So I feel justified.
I've seen online, Royals fans will call him Q instead of typing out the full.
I don't blame them. So now I feel better. Outside of his first year, which, I mean, to come into your first year and lose 106 games, that hurts. But the roster he inherited, actually I haven't even clicked on this, so let's do this little thought experiment. 2023, who were the best? Bobby Witt and
Cole Reagans, who we got halfway through the year.
So, Freddie Fermin is the 4th best player on that roster.
Is that 35-year-old Zach Greinke in there too?
Yeah.
Yeah, with his picture from 2002.
The legend.
Half a year of Aroldis Chapman.
Yeah, oh my goodness, this was Nicky Lopez.
Nicky Lopez.
Hey, look at that. All right. Well, this was not great. What's the starting rotation look like? Jordan Lyles, Brady Singer, Greinke, Cole Reagans, and Slop. Not
Jordan Lyles, ERA over 6, 177 innings.
Oof. Yep, I remember it well.
And then
the best part is he disappeared from the team the next year.
You don't say.
It's vanished.
Yep. In 2024, he took a leave of absence and never came back.
He's the epitome of the Chad innings eater. He just goes out there, he throws 7 innings, he'll give up 5 runs, but you don't care because he's eating innings, so no one else.
But Lee, he led the league in complete games.
Hey, look at that!
Oh, he did. Wow,
with 3.
So he did.
Those were
kind of useful.
I mean, whatever.
I wonder if he won all 3 of those games.
I don't think so, because I saw one of those. I saw one of those, and that was an 8-inning complete game at Wrigley Field that he lost. So,
okay.
I also kind of wonder if it was one of those. The game was already. It was 4-0 in the 6th inning, and they were just screw it. Our bullpen, you're wearing this one, Jordan.
Mhm.
What I did think was we did this similar to when the Cleveland extended when they extended what's his face. God, I'm great with managers
Stephen
today.
Vogt.
Stephen Vogt. There it is. That one's much easier to pronounce. I just wanted to look at where they kind of rank all time on their team's managers list. And let me tell, if you want a really unimpressive list, Sam, I'm very sorry, of manager wins, let's go to the Kansas City Royals because Kotaro is already seventh all time. They've been
Mhm.
around since 1969, and he is already seventh in 3 years in total wins.
Mhm.
They have five managers who have an above 500 winning record,
Yeah.
none of which are from this century.
Mhm.
So that is a heck of a start. One other thing I kind of pulled out there, Kotaro, and I'm just going to call him Q because I'm sounding like an idiot now.
Go for it.
Kansas City has had since 1990, so almost 40 years. And Sam knows this because I think he's cited this before. In almost 40 years, going back to 1990, they have had two stretches of at least back-to-back winning seasons. It was
Mhm.
2013 to 2015, which was a
Mhm.
3 year stretch. And then it was 93 and 94, which was the strike shortened season, the
Mhm.
94 season. Those are the only two back to back winning seasons the Royals have had
That's
in
rough.
36 years.
Yeah.
You could say all that, Eric, but you know what they do have? A World Series trophy.
They
And a
do.
lot of us
Uh-huh.
on this podcast don't have that. So there you go. I did it for you, Sam. There you go.
Yeah, and here's the great thing about that is I was watching, I can't remember what I was watching the other day, but someone was commenting on like which sports franchises have the most losses in each sport over the last 25 years. And the Royals have the most losses in MLB over the last 25 years. But the Royals also had back-to-back seasons where they went to the World Series and won one of them. And I want to know, Dan, how many people on this podcast would take 25 years losing the most games in MLB, but in the middle of that, you go to two straight World Series and you win one of them?
See, that's the fun part because the Tigers over the last like 15 years are like bottom two, and we don't have any of those. So
Is the alternative here you're competitive all the time, but you never win the big one? That's the alternative choice.
Well, the alternative choice would be whatever your team has done over the past
Oh,
25 years, Dan.
is it weird that I struggle with that thought experiment?
I,
Like,
I, I,
you know,
I don't blame you.
because I do. I don't know that I want to live through 23 years of not very good just for that 2 year. I don't know. It's
Yeah, I don't
tough.
know.
It's
I'm
tougher to
kind of
me
struggling
than
with that
Stay
too.
competitive. That's my thing.
Because, like,
really.
Otherwise, what's the fun?
Yeah, that's a good point.
The
because like
fun is winning the World Series.
But the thing
yeah,
is, Ty is the perfect person to ask this to because his team has won the World Series. Granted, it was 20 years ago now, but
All luck.
best of both worlds here. No, that was a good
I've,
team. Don't even.
I've
That was a
always
good team.
I've always liked the thought of okay, how many years of sucking would you tolerate after a World Series win? Like you
That's
win
a
the
good way
World
to put it.
Series, how many years would you wait until you're like impatient? Be like, okay, let's be competitive again, or even let's be good. Like how many years of being below 500 after a World Series win would you take?
I think my quick answer is a decade. Because you can, after a decade, it's like, okay, like, it's no longer a recent memory. But I don't know.
I go lower on this, like 6. I'm thinking,
As far
like
as
if you're really bad for 6 years after, like you're getting top 10 draft picks, you got to figure something out. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
yeah, you'd figure like, okay, if you're gonna be bad for 5 years, then like there should be something on the upside after the fact.
Or 10 years of being mediocre, I guess.
Right.
I think
I
I.
guess it
I think
depends
I
on
followed. I think I followed the Browns for 17 years before I gave up. So I like baseball more than I like football by a lot. So at least 20 would be my answer, I guess, which is more than I would expect. At least 20, just based off historical experience.
No, I know it's not in our wheelhouse, but for Yankees fans, it's probably like 3. So they're
half the
hurting.
season.
They can't even go. They miss the playoffs once. They lose their minds.
It's been 17 years for them, and they act like it's been 100.
Right.
But anyway, Quatrero, I got nothing against the guy. So good to see him sticking around. And also, again, we're talking about baseball. This is the sport where the coach / manager probably makes the smallest impact on the
Agreed.
team. If your manager, if you win 5 games because of your manager over the course of the season, that's probably as much as you're going to get. So
I think it makes a bigger difference in the playoffs than it does in the rest of the regular season. Like, I think in the playoffs is kind of when you see big differences, because it's all about the small things.
I mean, but you could also say that about the other sports. I mean, everything is magnified in the playoffs.
Right.
That's fair.
And the managers are such an extension of the front office now too. Like, I don't want to completely push the narrative that like the manager doesn't make any decisions for themselves, because I think most of the time that's just not true. But these are more of like consensus decisions made with the coaching staff and player development, etc. So I think that relationship still matters, and I do think I talk about it a lot, chemistry and
Right.
kind of that aspect, the personality aspect of it is still really important, I think.
Well,
So.
even
Hinch talks about all the time about how him and Harris are always talking. Like, they're texting like every single day and having conversations all the time.
and just to kind of build off of Dan's point too, so much of management has been like quantified. Like they can look at a reliever, like who, if our bullpen is gassed, who is the least impacted by pitching back to back? What's the leverage index saying that I need to go within? What's the matchup? This guy has a good curveball. This guy so like a lot of it's not like there's no thought involved, but like they can put more informed decisions. Like they have the matchups kind of already like predetermined. If this happens, we can do this type of thing. So really, what you're just left with is the soft factors, and like Sam was saying, and when Dan was saying also, it's all about, can you run the clubhouse? Is the clubhouse positive? Because if it's not, you really don't have that much value as a manager. But who knows?
Are you
And
building?
to
Are you adding more than you're taking away? I mean, I think that's really the message.
And I think to Lee's point, when you get to the playoffs, I think what also really matters is knowing when to deviate from the consensus or
Right.
kind of the current thought. I'll use the Guardians as an example. It's the trendy thing now, or at least it had been until recently, to pull your starter very early in games if you think things are going rocky. I think, as I've said here before, I think the Guardians have overdone that the last couple of years in the playoffs. You need to know kind of how to weigh those things.
Yeah, and like if you make the wrong mistake, people remember it for years. Like, I know Astros fans still talk all the time about how Hinch pulled the Greinke in Game 7 of the World Series, and like Blake Snell in 2020 again, for the Rays.
Alternatively, Dave Roberts this year really rode his starters. And I know they had a crap ton of talent, but I do think that his willingness to kind of deviate helped them repeat.
Well, I think it didn't, like the Dodgers bullpen was just non-existent too. So like
Yeah.
when the
So there's
option,
there's
when
an
the
element
bullpen
of like
option is
using
Spencer
what you got
Strickland.
too. Sorry to talk
Yeah.
over you.
No, you're fine.
And sometimes you can't make a difference either way. Like, we saw that with like in the Seattle Tigers series. Like, I think his name is Dan Wilson, the Seattle manager. In Game 1, he leaves in his starter against Carpenter. He hits a home run. In Game 5, he pulls his starter. Carpenter hits the home run anyway. Like, there's no winning in that situation sometimes.
Well, and it also, coaching is such a crapshoot. Like, not to go back to the Browns, but the Browns had Bill Belichick and Nick Saban on their coaching staff at the same time, and they fired both of them. So,
There were some extenuating circumstances there, but yeah.
But you know what I mean. You know what I mean. So, and I also think the other part of it is, like with all coaches, what we see of them during the game is just one part of their job.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes that determines whether or not they are successful. And a lot of that is, how well they can rub elbows with the higher ups in the
Right.
team. So,
And
who knows?
just to add on one more point, we can probably move off the subject too, but like a lot of it is, can you like all of the new information, that all of the numbers, you need to figure out how to get that message to your players in a way that they either adopt it or at least are open to it. And I feel like that's something we just can't measure. But
part of it's also filtering that information as well.
yes,
And I think that's a huge key, where it's like, if there's, the media, us included, we're going to call out 10 different things, but really the manager needs to deliver the right message.
right. And just to know, so like, if you have a player who really likes knowing the nuts and bolts of, spin rate and, if you put your finger here and it's going to do 200 more RPM and do this and the vertical break and all of that stuff. Or you just need to go over to the pitcher and be like, hey, can you just move your thumb up like this much more on the baseball? Great. Do that. Like, figuring out who to do that to, like, that really is the skill now, I feel.
See how that feels.
Yeah.
It might feel a little weird for a while. Keep doing it. Create some muscle memory, that
Right.
kind of stuff.
Take two and call me in the morning.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Before we move on completely, I do think it's worth mentioning how it's interesting. This 3 out of 5 of the managers for this season in the division were extended. Like Hinch was extended during the season, Boat was extended towards the end. Now Q has been extended.
4 were technically, but one of them got fired anyway.
Yeah.
This is true.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that Rocco did.
Rocco got extended.
I totally forgot about that.
Who's now latched on to is now in the Dodgers front office, by the way.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, and like we all know he was a scapegoat. It's not like he really did anything wrong.
No, I mean, it wasn't. It's fine. They also, they basically hired someone as similar to Rocco Baldelli as they could. Like, it's fine. Whatever.
Yeah, but our point is this division may not have much, but we have good pitching and we have good managers. So that's that at least.
I can't necessarily. I would love to be able to jump in that and be like, yeah, except for I think Derek Shelton, because he's managed 5 years in the majors, and yes, it was for the Pittsburgh Pirates. I think he has like the 5th worst winning percentage in baseball history.
Look, I think they fired Shelton for a scapegoat to the Pirates, but when Don Kelly took over, that team was almost 500. So.
Well, I'm pretty sure that if you talk about like worst winning percentages, a lot of them are going to be in Pittsburgh. Like, they've just been very, very bad for a very long time.
My point is, the team got better when Don Kelly took over.
There you go. So all right. Well, that was the highlight. We have a couple of roster acquisitions that we'll talk about. None of them are impressive, but they did happen, and I'm sure one of these, just to spite me, is going to go have a career year and is going to really haunt specifically the Twins because I said this. So we can probably start off with Pedro Avila, who signed a 2-way contract with the Guardians. Dan, tell us about him.
I hate to be that guy, but it's Avila.
Avila.
You're 0 for 2 today. But
can we just agree that I shouldn't ever pronounce names, whether it was...
Did you check his nickname first?
That's what I should do. Hey, buddy. I did that with Glaber all year before Sam corrected me. Yeah, not stellar, but fine.
Anyway, Pedro Avila is a pitcher who was with the Guardians 2 years ago in 2024 and was quite good. He was claimed in April, towards the end of April, from San Diego, ended up in the Guardians bullpen the remainder of the year, and was essentially, I've talked about A team and B team, which a lot of teams do, but the Guardians kind of do quite a bit with their bullpen. And he was a big contributor to that B team. The guys in the bullpen that get brought in, you're down a couple runs. He was largely the long man. He did a really good job of keeping the Guardians in some games that didn't get off to great starts, particularly in 2024 when the starting rotation wasn't as fleshed out. Carlos Carrasco made a bunch of starts for that team, Tristan McKenzie, etc. Just to get to the specifics that year, 3.25 ERA in 74 2/3 innings. But they decided to designate him for assignment after the end of the year. And I think that was in part because I almost did it. Avila wanted an opportunity to start. And so he decided to go overseas. He went to Japan for 2025, and he was okay over there. He had a ERA just over 4. As Lee has mentioned before, the Japan is in a bit of a dead ball era. So an ERA of just over 4 isn't amazing, but he didn't fall on his face or anything either. He did that in about 82 innings pitched, 4.04 ERA. But I do think that perhaps his experiment in terms of wanting to start back stateside, he didn't really do what he needed to do to stand out to make that happen. Instead, he has returned to the Guardians for 2026. And interestingly, he's on a 1 year split contract. My understanding of that is he's going to get paid a little bit better than the standard league minimum when he's on the major league club. And he's also going to get paid slightly better than a regular minor league player would be. The reason is to incentivize him to be willing to bounce back and forth, despite the fact he doesn't have any options left. And additionally, he'll be able to pass through waivers a little bit more easily. Teams won't be wanting to pay that extra in order to claim him. So this is an opportunity for him to, one, be a bullpen depth guy for the Guardians. I would expect him to be bouncing back and forth between AAA and the majors quite a bit, considering how much the Guardians have added to their bullpen depth this offseason. It's pretty much the only thing they've done, as I've mentioned ad nauseum at this point. And I would say that he may get the opportunity to start if, the starting rotation deteriorates, injury, that kind of thing. So I do think he might get that outside shot to do that, but I do think his bread and butter is probably going to be out of the bullpen, probably in a similar role as 2 years ago. I do want to acknowledge this from a stuff standpoint. He's got a really good changeup. He had 264 WOBA against in 2024. For reference, the league average is 310, so significantly below league average WOBA against on that changeup. But he does have historically a high walk rate. But the one thing that did improve overseas in Japan was his walk rate. So maybe some of that's been ironed out.
Yeah,
that
I was
most
looking
of
at
what I wanted to mention. He's a decent.
I was looking at these numbers
But
indicate that he's got a 90th percentile off speed run value and a 87th percentile barrel percentage. So he's
yes,
got
sir.
one good pitch, and the ball doesn't hit the barrel very much. And I think
But he
you
does
add
walk
those
guys.
two, yeah, and he doesn't walk guys. You add those two things together, and you're going to get another chance.
For sure. So, and I think the relationship was good. I kind of wonder if the Guardians were willing to kind of let him go, and maybe there was some mutual respect there. I'm reading between lines there. Who knows? But the fact that he was willing to return, was interested to return, speaks to there being a positive relationship there between both sides.
I think the Guardians are trying to sign every relief pitcher available so that no one else can have them. And
We
then
will have all the relief pitchers.
I love that.
they'll just have the best bullpen by default because they'll have all the relief pitchers.
Do you have?
It sure seems that way.
This concern isn't the right word, but like, are there any reservations that the Guardians already had him, lets him go, and are bringing like? To me, part of the benefit of
Oh,
going
no.
to Cleveland
I don't know
would
what the end
be
of that question was going to be.
like part of the benefit of going to Cleveland is like they're pitching gurus. They've already had this guy. Like, what is the benefit of coming back? Maybe like whatever he tweaked in Japan to help his walk rate. Maybe they can kind of turn that up a little bit, but I'm just kind of any hesitation or like not cause for concern there.
I missed a portion of that for some reason on my end, but I think the question was, is it concerning he's willing to return? Is that what the question was?
Well, essentially, like I guess my main question is: so you go to Cleveland because they're pitching gurus and you can help bring your career around. They've already had him, so like, there's not going to be like a benefit or like a new theory on him. Like they still have a pretty completed book on him. Like, do you think there's any upside that they missed the first time around? I guess.
No, but he did pitch to a 3.25 ERA in 74 innings. So I don't think that he could just be as good as he was 2 years ago and be a very useful component of this team, which again, because of the nature of his contract, they have a lot of flexibility with. They lost Andrew Walters. I don't think is going to pitch this year. It's a young guy in their bullpen that they lost along the way last year to injury. Nick Enright's no longer with the organization. They've lost some of these tweener guys that could bounce back and forth. And so I think part of adding all this bullpen depth, I think, is kind of recreating that. He's a really good example of that.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. Any other thoughts on any other news in Cleveland? That was kind of it from what I could tell.
The only thing I want to do is we talked a lot last time we got together about John Kenzie Noel. I don't know exactly how this works, but I think waivers get put on some sort of pause during the holidays. I haven't heard if he's been claimed or if he passed waivers or what at this point in time. So that's weird.
My
My
assumption
update is I have no update there.
my assumption is he passed because I think there is a pause on it, but I don't think that pause goes through Christmas to now. We're on January 4th.
And
Like, I'm
isn't it
assuming
more
he-
of a
he cleared.
no news is quote unquote good news? Like if you pass through waivers, like it's not really going to get announced.
You-
It's just
You
it's
would
just
think
if
you would
someone
think they'd
picks
at
them
least you think somebody would acknowledge it. But perhaps I think you could be onto something there, Ty.
I looked up John Kenzie Noel, and all I see outside of just the news that he was DFA'd, I see some articles on fan websites that say Padres need to take a flyer on John Kenzie Noel. Reds should take a chance on John Kenzie Noel. Rays should take a flyer on John Kenzie Noel. So I see some fan bases that might want to pick him up, but I would assume at this point he has to have cleared waivers.
I hope you guys are right.
Yeah, that's what
Love to
I
have
would
him back.
think at this point. But I don't know how long the pause lasts. That might last 2 weeks for all we know. Like, I don't.
Yeah, I'm not sure. For some reason, him going to the Rays seems kind of fun, but
Mm-hmm.
The Rays are back in Tropicana this year, right?
are they?
Supposedly, I know they kind of fixed the stadium, or I heard that they did. So I don't know if it's true or not. I'm gonna look that up.
Because he might hit 40 home runs in a minor league park. Send him to Sacramento.
I assume we'll have an update on him for sure by the next episode.
2 months ago, apparently all the roof panels were up at Tropicana. I don't know about the rest of it.
Well, that is something. Okay, so
Well, they'll be able to play in the beautiful gem of the MLB, Tropicana Field, everyone's favorite stadium to go to play in, to just so many tickets flying off the shelves at Tropicana Field.
and then there will only be one Major League Baseball team playing in a minor league stadium.
Mm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's probably over under on the amount of time we spent talking about Pedro versus his actual minutes talked versus batters faced in the league in the season.
He'll come up in a couple series recaps this year, I bet. He'll come up in a couple series recaps. He'll come in the fourth inning of a game and salvage a game against the White Sox or something, and
Against the
I'll
Twins.
acknowledge it.
Against the Twins.
It could be whichever of the other four teams. I just wanted to throw Ty under the bus. But yeah, he'll come up at some point. But I get the point that, he won't be getting his own segments probably.
All right, next up, the White Sox signed this was the best signing of the last 2 weeks, which is setting a real low bar. They signed John Newcomb to a 1-year, $4.5 million deal. Ty, what do you know about him?
So, what I know is that we needed bullpen depth. And if this ends up being the only real deal we do for the bullpen, it is what it is. I'm not unhappy. I don't think the fan base is unhappy. When I was looking at his baseball reference, what I saw was, and I actually did a New Year's resolution for him of just producing another one plus WAR season. Because when you look at his history, it has been on the lower side over the last couple of years, but it seemed like he found something. I couldn't find exactly was it one of his pitches, was it how he was attacking guys, but I think with how we've worked on pitchers in the last couple of years, I think there could be a good match here. So I'm very interested to see how he does. I assume he'll be used in a 7th, 8th inning role compared to closer, but it'll be basically between him and Vassell from my current understanding.
Yeah. When I looked at him earlier, when you said the pitch, it looks like in 2023 he added a slurve. That's that blue line there on the screen. That slurve has been pretty good since he used it. Last year he had a 165 batting average against, or expected batting average against, and a 249 expected slugging against that slurve. It has been it's been his best pitch. He also stopped using his four seam fastball and started using a sinker more. I think that's just been the mix. So like at least there is some high. I don't want to say like upside. I think Ty. I think you're right. Is he a closer? Probably not on a successful team, but in a 7th or an 8th inning role, there's no reason he couldn't be good.
And
now
I
that
think
assumes that the White Sox are going to be a successful team.
Well, so and here's the thing, and I know you're joking, obviously, but when you look at it, when you look at our losses in 1-run games or games lost in relief, like I think this is a genuinely good pickup to cut that in maybe a third, in a fourth. Like if you have one more better pitcher with this kind of mix out there, what's the worst that could happen? Like I don't think we're going to do worse. So
Yeah, no, and I don't mean to be crass or anything there. I just mean that assuming any team is going to be successful is a bit of putting the cart before the horse.
Can we talk about why the White Sox are having the best offseason in the division? Like that's bullshit. That's
I don't disagree.
I'm just saying, Cincinnati Reds of 2026.
I still think it's
Here we
the
go,
Royals.
boys.
me and one of my friends. We had a long discussion about the division as a whole. We had a lot of talk about whether or not because I mentioned like, oh, he's really on this the White Sox 2026 wild card. We talked about it. It's like we agreed. It's not the craziest thing in the world. It's not totally impossible. Like it's nearly impossible, but the talent level in the AL is all over the place, so you really never know.
And I'll reference back to it in my resolutions section as well. So,
Right. Not to go back too far into the points too, but saying when I said like if the White Sox would be successful, I mean, could Sean Newcomb be a piece in a good bullpen, like a playoff caliber bull? Could he be a 7th inning guy in a bullpen? Not necessarily just like the White Sox, but not that's picking nits.
I apologize if I missed this, but how long is the deal?
1 year.
1 year.
Well, he could be in a playoff caliber bullpen, whether it's with Chicago
he will
or
be.
not.
Right.
You could always trade him off, and yeah, there you go.
So the big name. This is saying something. The big name, the White Sox got a big fish from 5 years ago. If you're a prospect hound, Jared Kelenic is trying to save his career in Chicago, which probably not a bad choice. So, Ty, do you know much about Jared Kelenic?
So, what I want to reference, and I don't hate the pickup. It's a minor league deal, I believe. I don't hate the pickup. What I don't understand is this a replace for getting? We got Peters earlier in the offseason. We have Kelenic now. Is that their approach to instead of getting Talkman back? That's my biggest question. Right now, for our right field, you have potentially Kelenic, Baldwin, Hill, and Peters, who are all potentially going to fight in spring training to get that right field position. I saw Kelenic, his number, like it's what is he going to do now? How is it going to is he going to improve? Is being in a different, team going to help him? I can't answer that right now. I think it'll be good to have the competition, but I don't think he's going to win that competition. But I don't hate signing.
Yeah, it is a minors deal. When I first started looking at him. I really wanted to be optimistic over him. I don't see it anymore. I think he's going to be a washout, which it's a minor league deal, like good for him for trying to sign on.
Right.
This does seem like this is the type of minor league deal where it's you get a non-roster invitation, but you're probably making the team. But I don't know that. Sorry, my daughter also apparently is a big Jared Kelnick fan. What really
I think the baby sounds in the background really add a lot to this podcast.
do you? Okay, good.
I think that really adds something in there.
She's normally so quiet. Then we hit record and suddenly she wants to. That's right, I hear you. All right, I'm going to go take care of her, but then we can move on.
What do you think of what's the percent chance, Ty, that Jared Kelnick plays more than 100 games for the White Sox this year?
More than 100. I'm gonna say 5%. Now I like the way you phrase that though, because if you said like 40, I would say like maybe 60 to 70%. Like throwing him in there, like someone's going to get hurt. It's just how the game works, especially with how we handle injury on the White Sox. But once again, just having someone in your system that's kind of been around. I mean, I believe I saw there he's going to be 26.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's been in at least one or two other organizations. I mean, once again, low risk, high reward, and that's kind of what we've been doing for the last couple of years is signing these guys on to see. Can we squeeze any last bit of good out of them? So
yeah, last season he batted .213 in AAA.
Okay.
So in 94 games, I wouldn't be particularly. If you're a really big Jared Kelnick fan, I wouldn't expect to see a ton of him in Chicago.
The only other thing is I really wonder what they see that they're like, no, we're going to take a flyer on him where we are currently at with our roster. Given that there are people like Hill, like Baldwin, and like Peters that we've already done the similar thing with, or Baldwin's already on the major league roster, but it's like, is this just adding competition? Is that all this is? Which, if it is, then I love that approach.
I'd also like to point out that on our notes, Eric wrote "final stop before Japan," which feels a little, but also not untrue.
No. We're taking players from Japan, not giving them back.
The trade a year later. One thing on Kelnick, just because before I had to change my duties here for a second, he has struggled with a fastball the last 2 years, and if you're struggling to catch up to a fastball at 26, I don't know what hope you have, because that's where your reaction time and your bat speed should still be able to pick up to a fastball. His expecting batting average on a fastball the last 2 years. Just his normal batting average is 135 and 258 258 from last year. That's really concerning. Add in that his hard hit percentage dropped 8%, his strikeout percentage is at 35%. 35%. Unless you have massive power, Miguel Sano, Joey Gallo, Adam Dunn, unless you actually live up to that power, you're pretty much unplayable. Like, he's not that strong of a defender. Like, if he can click, I mean, he's still only 26. That's the play. If it clicks with him this year for some reason, this could be a very high upside feeling, but he's already on his third organization. Like, the Braves already tried the new setting thing with him, and it worked for half a year, or worked for a year in 2023. And then last year, it just fell off the rails.
It also makes me wonder, given where our AAA is going to be at, is he going to help? And I'm not saying that his stats were necessarily great, but is he going to be more of a I'm coaching the 21, 22-year-old on off-speed pitches? Just another approach. Maybe they're looking at it more of a would he be good for the organization versus would he be good on the major league roster?
Yeah, and just to put it into perspective, Kelnick was a 60 hit, 55 power, 60 run, 60 arm, 55 field, and an overall grade of 60 as a prospect. And he was the first high schooler taken in 2018. So, I mean, those are some
High hopes.
those are
and
those are
didn't
some
live
pretty
up to.
high ratings that he was given that he has not lived up to.
But I also feel like when you look at the White Sox history over the last 2 to 3 years, I feel like that's a lot of the deals is this guy didn't work out somewhere else. Can we figure something out?
Right. And that's more to do with where they were at in their rebuild. Because like when you're rebuilding, yeah, give everyone a shot. Who cares? Like if you get a hidden gem, if one of those guys hits, like that's an absolute plus. So I don't. I'm like Sam. I'm really happy that you brought up this prospect. I meant to do that, but never actually did it. So no. Who knows? I mean, Jose Bautista is the example everyone points to. There will be another Jose Bautista sometime in our lifetime. Is that Jared Kelnick? Probably not. But
Was Jose Batista a high pick? I don't
not
think he
sure.
was.
Probably an international signing would be my guess. I
Yeah,
don't
it
know.
might have been an international signing. But
with how much he
I-
bounced
I-
around, he had to have been
Yeah.
at least a notable prospect.
Yeah,
He was
I get what your
drafted
point is, Eric, but I don't know if that's a perfect metaphor there.
He was drafted in the 20th round of the 2000 amateur.
Okay, there you go. He had a cup of coffee with the Royals at one point. Jose Batista did.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
So I'm going to any other news, Ty, for the White Sox? No.
All good.
Okay. Well, I'm going to, as quickly and as thoroughly as I can, talk about someone we're probably not going to talk about again. The Twins traded for a first baseman, right side of the platoon, so I guess I'll take that. Hits right-handed. Eric Wegeman for a 23-year-old high A pitcher who has pretty limited upside, whichever. I suspect that the Marlins were going to DFA Wegeman, or if he wasn't already DFA'd, to save the roster spot. This is depth. He's fine. If I'm trying to be a hopeful Twins fan for someone who's going to be the St. Paul Saints first baseman next year, he might be a competent major league hitter. You're seeing some red on this Baseball Savant page. If you go a little bit lower, he does have decent, like he has high contact. He doesn't hit the ball that much. He doesn't strike out that much. He walks not as much as I would like him to, but there's some ingredients here to like. Who I really wanted to compare him to was when the Royals acquired Isaac Collins a couple weeks ago, but they're really not the same. They're really not the same caliber of player. Collins is at least a good defender and has extreme zone control, where Wegeman has okay strike zone control and has a pretty good contact, but I don't think he's that patient, so I think he's more of the case. He doesn't get to a lot of two-strike counts because he's already swung at the first three pitches and put the ball in play type guy, but that's me never actually seeing him play, but who knows. I don't think, I mean, just to use up the kind of the same question that Sam used about Kelnick, is he going to play 40 games for the Twins? I hope not. But we'll see.
Well, you already have your
Sounds
first
like-
baseman, though, so keep that in mind.
That's true.
Sounds like you have a
Unless the
concurring
second
opinion
half.
on that.
Either that or she hates it. I can't tell yet.
Yeah,
You don't
she
know.
doesn't want to see Eric Wagaman on the Twins, it sounds like.
She's just a big
No.
fan of Eric's. That's all it is. So, the other side, I'm not going to talk about it too much, but also the Twins yesterday, or was it this morning, signed Orlando Arcia to a minor league deal. He was a big deal, I don't know, 5-6 years ago when he was a decent prospect. His probably most famous play is when he made fun of Bryce Harper in the NLCS and Harper hit a home run and stared him down. I think that's probably as famous as he's going to get, because I don't think he played last year in Colorado and had a negative 1.2 B-WAR, which is not what you want to hope, but I mean, he's AAA depth at this point. Maybe he tracks on, but he's probably done. I actually know his brother more than I know him, because Oswaldo Arcia was a prominent Twins prospect like a decade ago. who had a couple good years, and then I think is playing in Mexico right now. But yeah, they got the Arcia brothers. Good for the Twins. So, Sam, you have one little piece of quick Royals news.
Yeah, I have one real quick thing. So obviously, we know that while we were off the air, the Chiefs signed a deal to move across state lines. All, of course, that left a lot of questions open about the Royals and what they're going to do. According to reports, the state of Kansas had a December 31 deadline for the Royals to sign a deal to also move across state lines. And it appears as though that deal was not signed. So, for the moment, the Royals do not have a deal with the state of Kansas. Now, obviously, this is something that can, kind of go back and forth, or we'll see what happens. But at least Mike Kehoe, who's the governor of Missouri, and Quentin Lucas, who is the mayor of Kansas City, have been putting out a lot of statements recently about how they are going to aggressively pursue keeping the Royals in the state of Missouri. So for now, not moving along with the Chiefs, but we'll see if anything develops with that over the coming months and years.
Dumb question, but is there a mayor for Kansas City, Kansas, and then Kansas City, Missouri?
There is a mayor of Kansas City, Kansas. There's also a mayor for North Kansas City. And the mayor of North Kansas City which is North Kansas City is above the Missouri River and is technically a different city, but also kind of the same city. So this is for the Kansas side. This is more of a state thing. This is Laura Kelly, the governor of Kansas, and the Kansas legislature out of Topeka, who are the ones who are, because the new stadium that the Chiefs are getting is going to be owned by the state of Kansas. So it's more of a state thing than it is a city thing on the Kansas side. So there is, but I don't really think the mayor of Kansas City, Kansas is a player in this game.
Gotcha.
Okay.
But we'll see.
Okay. Well, I think that was the news. We somehow spent 50 minutes on a manager extension and 5 very unappealing roster moves. But I thought what would be kind of fun, or what we thought would be kind of fun, is it's obviously New Year's. We only get to talk about resolutions during this time of the year. So we've each came up for our teams 3 New Year's resolutions and left it pretty vague up to our own interpretation. We haven't shared this with any of us, so I think we're just gonna go. I think we decided we're just gonna kind of do like roulette style, and someone's gonna go do their first resolution, and then we'll circle up. So we have 3 of these. So why don't we just start from? We'll start from Ty and then go counterclockwise. So Sam, Dan, Lee, and then me.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Murakami. I am a first baseman for the Chicago White Sox, and my New Year's resolution is to prove that I can hit in the Major League Baseball. I can hit a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Continue to that, kind of all booked together. This will be. Number 2 is going to be not suck at first base in terms of defense. I'm going to work on it. I've worked on it all winter. So it's going to be, I'm going to prove to the world how good at first base I am. And just to throw it in there, I'm going to justify my $300 million contract that I'm going to get in 2028.
I like it.
I hope it does happen. That is a big resolution to prove you're worth $300 million. Yeah, I don't know. I still go back and forth on him. I'm very I don't know.
Wait,
We'll
now
see.
hold on. Let me just clarify. When we talked, we didn't mention like realistic versus what the players are thinking. This is what
Fair enough.
Murakami's thinking.
Fair
Do
enough.
I think it's realistic? I think he will prove that next year, guaranteed. I
Yeah.
don't know if he proves it this year. I think there's progress there.
You
Yeah,
know, I saw an advertisement recently for, I don't know if it was a gym or whatever, but it said that most people's New Year's resolutions are over by January 9th. We're not going to find out about Murakami on January 9th, but I do think we'll find out very quickly if he's able to hit velocity or not. If that can be, if teams can exploit that about him, trust that it will be. And I think we'll find out very quickly. So I think it's a very good resolution. It's right, but we'll also find out in short order what his situation is going to be.
Well, on that note, Dan, I will say, not that this was part of the preparation for this, but I give him until May 31st to make his resolution come true. Prove to me that you can play semi-decent first base and that you do hit. Whether or not you're like batting average and ball in play, even if just make contact where you need to and control the zone like you have already. And that by May 31st, we should have a pretty good idea of if he's, fulfilled his New Year's resolution.
I think that makes sense.
I'll say, even just going off of we're gonna find out quick what he is. I even think by the middle of spring training, if he is still playing the field, is going to be an indicator. Because if he's not, I don't know. You're gonna know pretty quick at first base if he can hatch it or not. I also think maybe the glove has maybe been over scrutinized because he is a professional baseball player. It's not like we just picked this moron up out of the stands and gave him a glove. He played third base in I don't know what a major league quality system. There's no reason he can't play first base, but if for whatever reason, when the Twins signed Shiyoshi Nishioka a decade ago, he was supposed to be a shortstop, and the first day of spring training, they said, "Oh my God," not a big Nishioka fan. The first day of spring training, I said he is never going to play shortstop. And they moved him to second base, and he didn't even have a good arm for second base. So
for
a player who's going to be judged pretty quick in the first 6 weeks of this regular season, I think even spring training is going to show us a lot of what the White Sox think of him.
What everyone needs to keep in mind is that your next best bet at first base is Lenin Sosa, who had upwards of a -1 defensive WAR in 2025 at first base. We can't, if he can do any better than Sosa, he's there, even if it's negative. That's my perspective.
No, yeah, that's a good point.
All right. Well, Sam dropped off the screen, so I guess now if we go counterclockwise, Lee, what's your resolution for a Tiger?
All right. I'm gonna start off with Riley Green's resolution this year is gonna be an all-around player. Be more than just a guy who hits home runs, right? I've talked about the strikeouts a lot. That's the big part of it. Strike out a little bit less. Don't go for home runs all the time. Hit more doubles, hit more singles. Play and outfield play is a big part for him. Right now, he is a star player, but he could get even better. Can we show his Savant page? I linked it on the notes because I want to show how his Savant ratings have kind of gone all over the place. Or I can share my screen and pull it up. Oh, there we go. Yeah, if you go on go to 2022 and hit the play thing, and it'll show every year. If you go down to his fielding, it's he had good fielding to start off, and he moved over to the left. It kind of went down, but it's gone kind of up and down in terms of range and arm too. Has been an issue for him.
Yeah, arm value.
Yeah, so the potential is there. His first season, he made a bunch of these amazing plays in center field, but he got injured. Like, he started off the season injured because of this, and he got injured during the year, and he got injured again the next year, and so they moved him to left. But the potential is still there for him to be a really good defensive outfielder. He just needs to work on that. And same thing with the bat. He has the potential to be able to hit 300. It's just a lot of the time he seems to go for home runs all the time, and he strikes out a lot. That's something that was new this year. That's something that he can change. He's still only 25. He can become a superstar player. He just needs to take that step forward. His resolution is going to be more than a guy who just hits home runs. Be a superstar player.
I will say it's interesting. I looked him up, his page up, that he had a negative 1.3 defensive WAR. So what you're saying, he needs to be at least even for this year?
Yeah. Because
I got an element for Green here. In 2024, he hit 24 home runs. His walk rate was 11%. 2025, he had 36 home runs. His walk rate was 7%. Guy hitting 36 home runs should not have his walk rate go down 4 percentage points. Be willing to take a walk, Riley Green. It helps. It'll help the team keep the line moving.
Now, my question for you: he did play left field, center field, and right field last year. Right field's only a game. Center field 16 games. Is moving him around? Does that hurting him? Or are we just assuming he's a left fielder and he's going to get better at left field?
It's going to be he's going to get better at left field because he started off as a center fielder and he was really good there. The issue is he keeps throwing his body around and then ending up like, I think he started off the season injured because he injured himself in spring training in 2022. That's why he debuted later in the season compared to Torque. They were supposed to debut at the same time. 2023, he got injured. 2024, he got injured. Like, he has this injury history, so they put him in left field so that he wouldn't be making all these diving plays and stuff, right? Like, I remember his debut, he made this amazing save, but, like, he's throwing himself on the field, and, like, you're going to get yourself hurt. And he still does that in left field, which is, like, very scary, and it's like, God damn it, Riley, stop doing this to yourself. But it's just he needs to grow into it, and I think this year they pretty much kept him at left field. They barely played him in center. It's just we had a deficiency in the outfield, but the plan going forward is to keep him at center because we got Parker Meadows, who plays fantastic defense, and he doesn't have this great injury history as much. And if Parker Meadows' bat doesn't work out, we got Max Clark coming up, who does have a bat and does have the good defense. So going forward, Green is going to be a left fielder, especially because he doesn't really have the arm as much to put him in right, but he can play it. So I guess the answer to your question, very convoluted, is he's going to be a left fielder going forward.
Got it.
Yeah, that's for him. Be an overall, all-around player, not just a guy who hits home runs. All right. I think we're going with Sam next.
Yeah, all right. I've got a pretty simple one, and this one is for the Royals starting pitching staff. And that is to A, repeat what you did in 2025 while also staying healthy. The Royals had a lot of injuries to their starting pitching staff in 2025. Reagan's missed almost the entire season. Lugo had a couple stints on the IL. Michael Wacha missed a few starts here and there. Chris Bubich missed the second half of the season on the injured list. Now, am I expecting 5 guys to stay healthy for 162 games? Obviously, the answer to that question would be no. That type of thing doesn't happen in today's MLB. But we can't be losing 2 and 3 guys at a time. And granted, the guys that the Royals brought in to substitute in Noah Cameron and in Ryan Bergert and Stephen Kolek and Rich Hill, 45-year-old Rich Hill for 2 starts, were not bad. They, filled in pretty well. But you need to have your guys in the game. because, as they say, your best ability is your availability. So repeat what you did last year, but also stay healthy and don't have to bring in all these reinforcements throughout the season.
No, that's very good. Their pitching is so good. I mean, if they just stay on the field, they're going to be a top 3 rotation easy.
Yeah, and health obviously is a bit of a crapshoot, but it's.
So I do like Kansas City's rotation. I still cannot. It sits in the back of my mind. There are a lot of miles on those tires, whether it's Lugo or Waka or whatever. There's just. I know you just talked about injuries, but man, it just feels like. I know maybe you've talked about this in the past too, but like what's like the 6 through 8 like depth look like for them?
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think there are a couple guys. There are a lot of miles on the tires of Lugo and Waka, specifically Waka, because he's been a starter his whole career. Seth Lugo has only been a starter for the past 3 or 4 years. Prior to that, he was a bullpen guy. So, those two guys are getting up there as far as age is concerned. Lugo doesn't have as many innings on him as Waka does. So I think that's a little bit of a difference there. Reagan's is a young guy. Noah Cameron's going to be in his second year next year. Chris Bubich is, middle of the road as far as age is concerned.
Right.
Then you got guys like Stephen Kolek and Ryan Bergert. Those are because your top 5 right now as it stands are Reagan's, Lugo, Waka, Cameron, and Bubich. That's a great 5 guys to have. Now, assuming they don't trade any of those guys, which is something that we've talked about ad nauseum, then your 6 through 8 are Ryan Bergert, who was pretty good last year. Stephen Kolek, also pretty good last year. Daniel Lynch, who's come out of the bullpen for the last couple of seasons and, has had starting experience throughout his career, but has been good coming out of the bullpen as a long man. He could step in there. And then insert name here. I don't know. But I do think they have a decent amount of depth as far as that's concerned.
No, that's fair. Dan, your resolution.
Let's start with Gavin Williams. And let's talk a little bit about his 2024 because that'll provide the context for this resolution. Through May last year, Gavin Williams had a 4.27 ERA, made worse by a 5.23 expected ERA, which was largely pushed by 5.5 walks per 9 innings. He also, I don't know if this was for the entirety of the season, but I remember it being said multiple times throughout the year, was throwing more pitches per inning than any pitcher in the league. Lots of long counts, lots of 3-ball counts, lots of walks, lots of long innings. June through the end of the season, Williams pitched to a 2.50 ERA. Expected ERA was still a little elevated, but it was 3.86, significantly better. And the walk per 9 was down to 3.99. So, more than a walk and a half cut off of that. His strikeouts were also down, but he limited home runs. And the difference on a per start perspective was through May, he was pitching 4 2/3 innings per start. It was 5 2/3 innings the rest of the way. So he pitched deeper into ball games. So, Gavin Williams, my New Year's resolution for you is to continue to pound the strike zone with quality strikes. Because when you do, you are a frontline starter in this league and could be a number 1 for a playoff game.
Now, going back to my comment earlier about how realistic that is, I'm not the only one that, Williams can do that, right? He's shown it before.
Yeah, absolutely. So. This is within reach for him. It's a matter of consistency. It's a matter of maybe changing his approach and how he attacks hitters. Like I said, he K'd out fewer guys in the second half last year, but all his other numbers were better. It felt like he was chasing strikeouts. And so maybe another way to say this is Gavin, don't chase strikeouts. But I like throw quality strikes, pound the strike zone. He's got the stuff. He's always that's his profile. He gets compared to Vibey because they came up at a similar time and are of similar um, nature in the organization. He's got better stuff than Bybee, even though Bybee's success, I think, has been a little bit grander in totality to this point. He could be the ace of this staff and be very good. He's just got some stuff to iron out.
Does
Can I-
anyone also think it's kind of interesting that pitch to contact is almost like it used to be like made fun of, and now that it's coming back around the block, kind of thing? Like,
We should
'cause
play defense? Oh, okay.
yeah, weird. But like we've been so strikeout heavy and strikeout rate and all of that, and strikeout per whatever. And now it's at the point where I know the Twins actually had on in their clubhouse, it was number of pitches per inning, because like now the strategy is if you get to 2 strikes, then go for the strikeout. But like you're almost pitching to contact up until like you're throwing quality pitches like Dan is saying. But I love how the verbiage has gone from pitch to contact to now it's don't chase strikeouts. And like it's almost going to become trendy again. Like I like how that wheel is continuing to turn.
And it'll be interesting too because players are going to be incentivized to chase velocity and spin because they want to get paid, and that's measurables that are allow them to get paid. But you're going to have coaching staffs maybe turning the other direction a little bit and saying, "Hey, let's just get out." Like, will just getting out become incentivized? Like, how is this all going to kind of play out over time? And yet to be seen, obviously. But I think it's an interesting dynamic you bring up, Eric.
Ty, I shut off your point. I'm sorry. What were you going to say?
No worries. We can move forward.
Okay, fair enough. I'll go through mine. Mine is more of a internal self-inflection because I am Royce Lewis, and I need to understand that I was the main reason for my struggles over the last 2 years. And that sounds absurd because he's a professional baseball player. He should know this. But there's something in some of his quotes that just makes you think that Royce is passing off blame. And one of them, it was like in early August, just after the Twins blew up at the trade deadline. And he said something like, it's very difficult to accept new techniques. He's talking about coaching. It's hard to accept new techniques when it's an arbitration year. And basically saying, no, I haven't been listening to the coaches all year because I've been trying to increase my chances for arbitration. Well, Royce, that ended in an 83 OPS plus. That, just going off of his career, he's played 4 major league years, injuries shortened on all of them, but his OPS plus in those years are 143, 149, 107, 83. Now, he was never going to be a 140 OPS guy. That is first ballot Hall of Fame numbers if he does that for a career. That was not going to be the point. If he can be a 120 OPS guy, that would be just freaking great. But to go from 140, 107 to 83 in 3 years, that is staggeringly bad. Like, that is such a sharp decline that you kind of wonder if he can crawl back out of. Now, last year, he played 100 games for the first time in his career. He played 100 games for the first time in his career. He did not look good up until like the last half of August. And then he started playing to like a 110, 115 OPS plus. That's all I want. I don't need if I get 150 OPS Royce Lewis back hitting 5 grand slams in a year, I'm going to be a very happy boy at the end of next year. But I don't need that. I want all-star caliber Royce Lewis. That's what I want. That's my New Year's resolution. Accept coaching and understand that you were part of the problem for your struggles last year.
Now, can I just ask, Mr. Lewis, do you think that the overall clubhouse issues were weighing on you as a player, or had an impact on you on the player to get out of whatever you were self-inflicting? Or was it really just you and your bubble and it is what it is?
Well, I'm an emotional guy. I'm the type that when I'm Royce Lewis, and when I am going well, I am like the best guy to be around. I'm always positive. I'm the rah-rah guy. I'm the guy everyone can rally on. When things aren't going well, I get kind of childish.
You dragging others down with you?
He doesn't do well. Yes, that's where the negative side of his personality comes in.
So I guess my main takeaway on your resolution is like, if the organization looks like they start to care a little bit more, that might lead him to a better year just in general, based on his environment. And then, like you said, working through the personal struggles, get out of my own way, get out of the hole, and figure it. You already did it. Do it again.
I think he needs to be open to honest and constructive criticism, and I don't think he is right now, which is real sad for a professional baseball player. That's just my theory. Okay, I think that's enough on Royce. I'm taking off my Royce Lewis hat. I pass my hat to Ty. What is your second resolution?
Hello, everyone. My name is. I'm sorry. I'm a player who led the White Sox in WAR last year at 2.7 WAR. I only played on the major league roster for 3 months. My name is shortstop Colson Montgomery. And what I'm going to do in 2026 is I'm going to replicate, if not exact, very close to what I did in July and September of 2025. When you look at August, it was more of a like I'm getting used to, or people are getting used to me. I'm getting used to everyone else. But when you look at July and September, it is exactly what he needs to be in terms of power, in terms of contact, how he was playing defense, all of that. So as Colson Montgomery, I'm just going to try everything I can do to replicate July and September as I move into my sophomore year.
Very nice, very nice. Give me one moment while I pull up stats, because I do have one question for you, Mr. Montgomery. So in about 71 games, you hit 21 home runs. Do you think that is replicable over 162 games?
100%. And if it's not, they're going to send me back to Arizona. So, because it worked once, it'll probably work again. But I also do have all the other guys I grew up around in AAA. They're all here now too. So I got my boys behind me. I think I'm going to have a great year. Even if it's not as good as July and September of 2025, I think I'm still going to have a productive year.
Now, would you also include having a higher WAR than Noah Cameron as part of your 2026 New Year's resolution, Mr. Montgomery?
Metrics, other than pointing out I was the best on the White Sox, I mean, it is what it is. I want to focus on myself. How about that?
Okay, very good. Are you aware of the Colson Montgomery Noah Cameron rivalry on this podcast,
No
Ty?
No
Okay. They voted for you for Rookie of the Year, AL Central Rookie of the Year on our
Right
awards
choice.
show.
Yep.
over Noah Cameron, and I took umbrage to that.
It was amazing.
It was very fun. For the record, I was on Sam's side because
You were.
one player played more. I think that matters.
Yes. Well, and one player finished higher in the actual Rookie of the Year voting.
Well, clearly one of them is more prestigious, and we all know that it's this one. So,
well,
I do have one question for Mr. Montgomery before we move off of this.
Absolutely.
Colson, you had 9 doubles last year in comparison to your 21 home runs. You only hit like 230, and you struck out about 30% of the time. I understand wanting to replicate. You can make a major impact on a team hitting 40 home runs and playing a decent shortstop. But is there any intrigue to maybe putting the ball in play a little bit more, or are you kind of happy with your current profile?
So, Dan, I really appreciate the question. What I want you to keep in mind is that all the hits that I planned on being doubles just happened to get out of the park.
Sailed over the
So,
fence. Okay,
but
that's fair.
I understand where you're coming from, though, 100%.
Why hit a double when you can hit a home run? I understand.
Right, exactly.
Makes all the sense in the
I'm here
world.
for the value, man.
Who's up?
I think it's Sam.
All right. My name. Well, I'm not going to do this.
That's okay.
No, put on the role playing head is fun, Sam.
Okay.
Your name is what?
You
My
can't be
name-
the whole pitching staff.
No, I can't be the whole pitching staff. So I'll do the role playing hat. My name's Jonathan India, and my New Year's resolution is to play 2026 like I want to be in MLB in 2027. Organize my 2026 season in such a way that I can facilitate being in MLB in 2027. Because I know that if I have another clunker of a season like I did last year, I'll be playing in Japan or Korea in 2027, or even worse, on the Rockies. So I'm going to, when my hand gets stepped on and the ball is loose in the outfield, I'm going to not continue to lay down on the ground. I'm going to get up and I'm going to run, right? And I'm also going to have a couple things going in my favor of not learning a different position that I've never played before, having a 1-year contract to motivate me, and I'm going to also probably not be expected to hit in the leadoff spot. So all those things are going to be in my favor this year, and I'm going to not put up all-star or MVP numbers, most likely, but instead I'm going to be a cromulent MLB player.
Cromulent.
Yes. Are you familiar? Are you familiar with that word, Eric?
No. No,
Okay.
I am not.
It's from The Simpsons.
Fair enough.
But anyway, yeah, Jonathan India really needs to do well in this contract year, and I think that if he doesn't, we will. We'll be seeing. His future in MLB is kind of right now, but I think this 1-year deal will give him some motivation. So
Okay.
I would like to, and I also want to see. He had a quote at one point last year where he was like, "Oh, gee, I'm trying really hard, guys. Oh, baseball's hard. Oh, geez, Rick. Oh, I'm trying to be a good player." It's like, stop. Don't say stuff like that. Just play or don't play. Don't give me quotes. Give me adequate MLB play.
Now, Mr. India, I do have one question for you, if you don't mind. We've talked about on this podcast before about being in your own way. Is there anything stopping you from being even just better than the player you were last year?
Well, you see, Ty, I made an Instagram post where I cut my hair. So that's going to be a real positive, a real nice, it's kind of going to be, have you ever seen the film Mulan? Where she cuts her hair before she goes off to war. That's what this season, that's going to be the symbology of that right there. So
I will say Dylan Cease has used it too, so I won't argue. Good.
Mhm.
Thank you for the response.
So
Yes.
Jonathan, one last question for you. Next year, January 4th, 2027, we see a headline that says Jonathan India signs for 1 year, blank $1 million. What is the league? what is the amount?
Well, let me actually, to answer this question, let me consult with my very good friend, Sam. Sam, why don't you? Oh, hi guys, it's me, Sam. I think Jonathan India would be happy getting an MLB deal next year. I think if he comes out of the other side of this and he has an MLB deal for a couple $1,000,000 a year, whether that's a 1-year deal, 2-year deal, I think he would be that's what he should be going for. And I think that will be a deal either with the Royals if he ends up playing very well, or it will be with the Reds if he wants to go back home, or it will be with a lower tier MLB franchise. I don't think we're going to see him, he's not going to be a guy who's, no team's going to look at him and say, oh, he's just the one last piece we need. I think he's just a perfectly fine MLB player. And that's what.
Before we go to Eric, more than less than 100 games with the Royals this year?
I think more than 100 games with the Royals this year. I think a couple things. One, the Royals kind of didn't really want to admit defeat with him, which is why he got this new contract. And I also think, if you tried to trade him at the trade deadline, what are you going to get? What are the Royals going to get out of him that they don't already have? Because what the Royals need is a big stick in the outfield. And unless he's going to be unless the Royals are going to throw him in a deal to get Jarren Duran or one of these other guys who they've been linked to, what are you getting for him? So he's either going to play 100+ games for the Royals, or he's just going to be DFA'd halfway through the year. So, and I would bet on 100+. So anyway, that's my Jonathan India New Year's resolution.
Okay. I'm gonna jump the line here because I have to go feed a bottle here in just a bit. And my camera just fell off, so let me go grab that.
Eric,
why don't you yeah.
All right. So we're back, kind of. So, all right. My name is Derek Falvey. I am the president of baseball and business for the Minnesota Twins. And for the entire tenure of my office, I have been waiting out the market to a point where my fan base goes nuts. And then I go crazy in February and I sign a Josh Donaldson or a Carlos Correa or, back in the day, a Logan Morrison, Lance Lynn, blah, 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 blah. I need everyone to know that I am still going to acquire players for this roster. I'm just waiting until February to do it. I'm still going to bring in a bat of 750 OPS or higher. I am going to then bring in 2 relievers. And in order to do that, I'm going to have to trade either Trevor Larnach or Bailey Ober to do it. Maybe both to free up $8 million. Both of them are going to be paid between $5 and $6 million through arbitration. I'm probably looking at Bailey Ober because I have a lot of theoretical starting pitching depth that I acquired at the trade deadline. I need to lean into that in a somewhat meaningful way. And if that means bringing in a new bat or a reliever, I can do that for a Bailey Ober whose trade market maybe isn't doing that well. That's it. That's my resolution. I'm adding to this roster. I'm adding 3 more players to this roster before spring training.
Sir, I have one question, and the question is, is your New Year's resolution going to lead to the Twins being a better team than last year?
They will be a better team than their second half last year.
Okay.
When they were literally the worst team in baseball.
No further questions. Thank you.
75 wins is what I think the realistic answer is.
I'll ask you this question, and then you can give your child a bottle. What are the chances that actually happens?
You're muted.
You're muted.
You're muted.
I think they will add 2 relievers. I don't know about the bat. The bat is
Okay.
wish fulfillment.
Thank you for your very valuable time. I really appreciate it.
Yes.
I just appreciate Eric with the commitment to, he had Twins fans in the background while he was pretending to
Crying
be
at the
Derek
sound of his
Colby.
They
voice.
do cry a lot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At least the
Yeah.
last half of the season.
So I know the front office tends to make Twins fans very sad.
Yeah. There you go.
We moving on to
L-
Lee or Dan next?
Let's do Dan because we're doing clockwise or counterclockwise, whatever clockwise this is.
All right. I'm going to try one of these. We'll see how this feels for size. I am George Valera. For those that don't know me very well, because I only came up to the major leagues in September, I am an outfielder that has been in the Guardians organization since 2018. I'm a 4-time top 60 prospect, according to Baseball Prospectus. Every year from 2020 to 2023, I was a top prospect. That being said, I've played 233 games in AAA over the last 4 seasons. In those games, I've had a 766 OPS. Pretty good. Not tearing, walls down or anything like that, but pretty good. And my 150 game averages are 25 doubles and 25 homers with 80 walks. Productive hitter at the AAA level. However, the reason I have to give you all this data and statistics in these averages and so on and so forth is because I've played more than 90 games once in my pro career since 2018. So my new resolution, me, George Valera, is just to be on the major league roster and be the guy I was in AAA for this Major League Baseball club. Because a guy that can hit 25 home runs and hit 25 doubles and walk 80 times is probably going to hit like fifth or third in this or second in this lineup, and be a heavy contributor to an offense that was like 28th in the league last year. So that is my resolution, New Year's resolution, me, George Valera. And by the way, my good friend Chase DeWater, who's been in the minors with me, we're workshopping this together. He has a similar one as well.
Now, George, do you believe that it's realistic that you're on the major league roster all season, or do you end up going back and forth a little?
Considering the fact I was called up in September and played pretty well, as well as was on the playoff roster, as well as this team has done nothing in terms of adding externally to our outfield. I'm going to have to beat Nolan Jones out for the right field job. George Valera, am a pretty confident guy. I think I can beat
all I
Nolan
say is
Jones
good
out
luck.
for the right field job. So, yeah, I think there's a very good chance I could be on the roster opening day. If I had to put a percentage on it, it'd probably be like 80.
And then 100 games plus on major league roster?
That's a little bit more touch and go and dovetails into my final resolution, which we'll get to. But
Okay.
I've done it once. I could do it again. I think the percentage on that's probably more like 30.
If you beat
So
Nolan Jones out, you can do anything. That's what I've heard.
that's true. Yeah. Feel similarly. If there are no other questions for Mr. Valera, I think we're over to Lee.
Yeah, I don't have anything for George. All right, let's try doing this. My name is Kerry Carpenter, and I hit home runs. I hit home runs off of righties. I can hit home runs off of lefties. I hit home runs off relievers, even the relievers that are betting against their own team. I hit home runs in the regular season, and I hit home runs in the postseason. The only problem is my hamstrings are made of wet tissue paper. So my New Year's resolution for this year is to stay on the field for the entire season because I hit home runs. The rest of my team has decided that they don't want to hit in the postseason. Whether or not you believe that some players perform better in the postseason or not, the fact is I almost single-handedly dragged my team to the ALCS 2 years in a row. I am going to stand this field and I'm going to make this team a winner, whether they like it or not.
I will say that was very poetic. That
I
was
liked it.
wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you.
My question for you is: you've had one season at 130, you've had one at 118. Is there anything that leads you to believe? Has anything changed, or is anything being the same as 2025 that keeps you on the field?
I just need to stop trying to run out balls that I can't run out. In end of May last season against the Twins, I was nursing a hamstring injury for the past month, and I wasn't batting very well. But I hit a triple, and for some reason, I decided to go for third base. And then I missed a month, even though I'd already been nursing a hamstring injury for the past 3 weeks. So
try hard, but not that hard.
Don't actively try and injure myself on the field. Yes.
I would say that pretty realistic.
It's very realistic. I'm gonna take off my Kerry Carpenter hat for a bit. But yeah, because he keeps like, I love that he gives that energy and like tries hard and like goes for third or goes for second, but he doesn't need to. He's just hurting himself. He played hurt for like a month and his stats dropped like crazy. And like, I mean, I'm not kidding. He almost dragged this team to the ALCS 2 years in a row. Like, Dan, I don't know if you remember, but in game 4 of the ALDS in 2024, he hurt his hamstring. And then in game 5,
Yes.
Game 5, he still scored the first run for the Tigers. He hit the longest single probably in postseason history on one leg.
I forgot about that, but yeah, he could still friggin' hit, man, even though he was debilitated. It was
He could
infuriating.
barely get to first base. The ball went all the way to the right center wall, and it would have been a double any other time, but he could barely run. So
Lee, what in terms of games played? Let's say he doesn't play all 162. What's a real? Is it just doing 130 like he did in 25? Like what is the realistic goal?
I think 150. 150 is a reasonable goal because he's still going to miss some games. He's still going to like have time off. He's still going to. There's going to be some days where we're playing lefties, and we don't want to. He'll still come in to pinch hit a lot, so he'll get a lot more games racked up that way against relievers. But he won't be starting all the time. But he'll still have to take days off. And DHing more, I think, is a key part because he's not fantastic in the outfield. He's gotten a lot better at being able to catch the balls he can get to. But he's not the fastest guy in the world, but he's still decent in the outfield. So DH more, it will be a key part of that. And just like I said, not pushing himself when he doesn't need to. Like, it's great to try and stretch go from first to home on a double or go to third, but he doesn't need to all the time, and he's just going to get himself hurt.
And I don't mean to put a curse on you, but I hope that Luis Robert Jr. and Carpenter play the same amount of games this year. Take that as you will.
Oh, boy.
It could be any number. I did have your resolution for Green was be a more well-rounded player. Was there any inclination to want to say similar with Carpenter? I mean, obviously you really hammered hit home runs, but like, would he get better in right field or like, I don't know. Is there any? Do you have any thoughts on that?
I don't think his potential is to be a lifelong right fielder. I think he's going to be a DH guy. He's already 28. He's not fast. He's not fast. He had his best season defensively last season, I would say, and he still wasn't great. I think
DHing more could help his durability as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think he's not going to be a well-rounded player. He's going to be a guy who comes in and hits home runs. I think that's his role.
But to do that well, he needs to be available.
Yes, he needs to be available. Like 2024, a big reason where we had a late season surge was because Kerry Carpenter came off the IL. He came off the 60-day IL from a lumbar, like a spine injury, and he comes his first game back. He hits 2 home runs. Like, I mean, And like the postseason, like, okay, whether or not you believe in like the idea of some players are really good in the postseason and some players aren't, Kerry Carpenter has almost taken this team to the championship series 2 years in a row. Like, that is a fact, undeniable truth.
The anti-Aaron Judge.
Yes. Like, he nearly won us the game 5 of this season, and he still there are I'm getting too excited. 2024, game 2 of the ALDS, he single-handedly wins us that game. 2025, game 1 of the ALDS, he single-handedly wins us that game. Pretty much, he almost won it for us in game 5. Like, this is a guy who's so important. He stays on the field because he performs all the time. And like, this season, his stats aren't as great as they were last season because he played, first of all, he went ridiculously hot in 2024. So it's like, at a certain point, he was like the 3rd best hitter against right-handed pitchers behind like Shohei Ohtani and Juan Soto, right? At a certain point, that's unsustainable. But also, he was playing injured for like 4 weeks in this past season because he injured his hamstring a bit in April, and then he injured it again, and he played all of May injured basically, and then went on the IL for a month before the All-Star break. So if he could just to stay on the field and just hit home runs, that's what we need him to do, and that's what he can do.
I will say, and maybe this is potentially a future topic at some point. I don't know if it's fleshed out enough or not, but when I think of the guys in this division that I go, oh crap, that guy's coming up, he's on the short list of like, he's top 3 maybe. Like, he's up there for sure because I've seen him do it.
Yeah, like, remember that one game, the Tigers ended up losing in the 10th, but that one game against the Guardians where Kerry Carpenter came in to pinch hit bottom of
Homered
the
off
ninth,
a cage.
and he ties the game immediately.
Yep.
Like, he's a game changer. Like, he's a guy who changes the game just by existing. Because I think, like, when we were, like, for that game as an example, like, Dan, we were talking in the Discord, you mentioned, I think Vogt is trying to make sure we don't have to face Kerry Carpenter.
You have to, if he's on the bench, you have to game plan around trying to avoid Carpenter coming up, or like have him come up in a situation where you still got your left-handed guy to bring in to face him. Like that's especially games down the stretch in the playoffs, etc. I do think that's important.
Yeah, and he doesn't start every game, but he will end up coming in to pinch hit in like the 6th, the 7th, the 9th, or whatever, because he's so good against right-handed pitchers. And other managers know this, and they change the way they manage their bullpen because of it.
I think at least Vogt does. I don't know about anybody else.
It's just a lot of the times it's extremely obvious that they are trying to make sure they do not have to put a right-handed reliever against Kerry Carpenter.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned this earlier, but Dan Wilson, game 5 of the ALDS, he pulls his starter early because he does not want Kerry Carpenter to face his starter a 3rd time. And that's the guy that he like completely owns. He's like, I don't want him to have a 3rd try against him. And it didn't work because Kerry Carpenter still hit a home run. Like, this is, yeah, I'm feeling like I'm repeating myself, but he changes the game just by being on the bench. And so it's so important that he stays available for an entire season.
All right, Mr. Carpenter, thank you for your time.
Yes.
Dan, who are you?
I think we're back. We've all gone twice.
Oh,
right?
we already gone around? All right.
Yeah.
He was George Valera, which he did a wonderful job with.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, you missed my George Valera impression. It sounded just like me, but I said I was George Valera.
Oh, fair enough. Okay, good. That's probably the best way to play that character, because if you tried an accent, I think that wouldn't go over particularly well.
Yeah, we don't need to do that.
We don't.
AL Central podcast canceled. There it is.
Yeah.
So, for my last pick, I don't know if you guys have heard of me, but I came up with a bunch of the other White Sox younger kids last year, and I'm a second baseman. My name is Chase Mydroff.
Yeah.
And though you might not be scared of me at this time, what I'm going to tell you is that my New Year's resolution is to prove that I am the Chicago White Sox second baseman and play 150 games this upcoming season. I'm a great leadoff guy. I take pitches. So I'm going to wear out your starter. I'm going to set the guys up behind me really well. And I might not be the best second baseman in the game, but I'm going to come out every day. I'm going to fight hard. I'm going to do everything in my power to beat the other team. And that's me, Chase Mydroff, Chicago White Sox second baseman.
Very nice.
Looking at your why are you not? You're able to square up when you hit the ball, you always square it up, but you don't hit the ball. What do you got to do here? Like, what do you chase too much? Do you swing for too many home runs? Like, do you know what your weaknesses are as a hitter? Or
I think that's a great question. I'm focused on setting my team up for success, and I think that there are times where my metrics might look worse because I'm trying to set the fellow teammates up for success. Whether they're taking an extra pitch that I could have gotten a hit on. I think that when you look at the last season, splitting my time between second base and shortstop, where I was used at shortstop before Montgomery came up. I'm really glad to have him as my tandem up the middle. And I think that just doing a full year at second base will give me the opportunity to spend a little bit more time on some offensive aspects that the team and the media might want to see.
So seeing a lot of pitches, maybe trying to move a runner over, that kind of stuff, as opposed to that's something that could use an adjustment this year.
I will just tell you, you don't expect more than maybe double-digit home runs. I mean like very low double-digit home runs. But that's not the player I am, and you guys are just going to have to accept me the way I am. But I'm going to come out every day and play my hardest and be gritty.
Now, Chase, I kind of thought that maybe your resolution would be not to have a pop-up hit you in the head this year.
I thought we were leaving that behind. So, a good point. Good point.
Is that's kind of a part of it too, I would imagine.
Not getting hit in the head would be a great start to 2026. But and really, like I said, the thing is, whatever happens when I'm being gritty, it's going to happen. If I take another one to the head, to the face, but I make the play, that's what I'm all about, man.
Fair enough. Thank you, Chase. We appreciate your time. So, yeah, I can go next. Why not? My name is Joe Ryan, and I am at my best a number one caliber starter. I'm not an ace, because I do think there's a difference between an ace and a number one starter. At my best, I am a number one caliber starter until I get to August. And whether I'm injured, or whether I'm gassed, or whether I'm a little bit pouty that my entire team just basically left for other area codes, who's to say? I'm a bit of a mental case, if you can't tell. But my OPS plus against by month, just last year, but this kind of translates more into my career. In March and April, it was 96. Not stellar, not great. In May, it was 55. Untouchable. Don't mess with me. In June, it was 75. Still pretty good. Not Cy Young caliber, but pretty good. July, 96. We're back to just below average. August, 110. And September, literally a 200 OPS plus against. Hitters were twice as good against me as a league average hitter. That is unplayably bad in September. If I am a number one caliber starter at my best, I better be able to translate that into September. And that's what I need to do this year. That is my resolution, is whatever conditioning, whatever mental gymnastics I need to do in my head, I just need to have a good September. And I'm going to be a Cy Young candidate if I continue to play like I do in June and July, or in May and June. That's all.
Joe, I will say I'm a fan. I really need to bring up the elephant in the room versus left-hand batters in 2025. You were just very bad.
I wasn't good.
Lefties versus righties. Do we think that's going to improve this next year?
I don't want to say I have a limited pitch mix. I am a sinker, changeup, slider guy. The slider, I'm right-handed, I'm throwing into a left-handed pitcher. A slider does not do me very good. My sinker, if it isn't sinking on those days against lefties, I am very susceptible to home runs. And especially when we get to August, and I'm going to guess a lot of like my full season stats really got inflated in July and August. Because like I said, hitters were better than Barry Bonds and Babe Ruth in September last year. I cannot state how abysmal I was. If I can figure out a pitch mix, or if I just have a better changeup to maybe make me a little bit better versus left-handed pitcher, I can do a lot. But really, sinker and fastball is what I'm going to make my living on. I just need to do better, is my answer.
So, Joe, I do have one thing for you. Have you considered that maybe your problems in September of when you've had your entire career in Minnesota? Minnesota has not been a particularly great team for a lot.
Oh, I hate it here. I don't want to be here at all. I 100% don't want to be in this organization anymore. I want to be traded. I made that pretty clear after the deadline. There was a quote by an anonymous player in The Athletic that said, "Well, nobody wants to be here now." I don't want to say I was that player because it's never been confirmed, but it's me or Royce that said it. And Royce isn't in the room.
Do you think part of your problems with this September is that you kind of feel like the season is already over and there's no really reason to keep playing? Do you think if you were on a team that was performing better or more in it, you would be able to continue on your excellent performance from the summer?
I would say your narrative is last year we completely collapsed. We were not even a major league caliber team. In 2023, we won the division, won a playoff series, all that good stuff that Eric gets really nostalgic and teary-eyed about, even though it's a pathetic level of success. Lest we forget, the Minnesota Twins were leading the division up until August 17th, 2024, and then had a historically bad collapse that was almost as bad as the 2025 Detroit Tigers August and September collapse.
Well, you can't say almost as bad because you missed the playoffs entirely. But the 20.
That's why I said almost.
Made the
percentage-wise, though, like it was pretty staggering to have those back-to-back. By the way, let's not talk about Carlos Correa. He has had those back-to-back seasons in teams that were going to make the playoffs, had 95% winning chances to make the playoffs, and then both of those teams missed those playoffs back-to-back years, but that's beside the point. He's in Houston. We're paying him $10 million to play for another team right now. But yes, to answer your question, do I think I am a mental case and that when things are going well, I'm at my best? Absolutely. And when things are not going well, I let outside factors, including a really crappy ball strike call from the umpire, where you can see me almost throw a tantrum on the mound. Yes, I am that player. I am very emotion on my sleeve, California casual type guy. That's me, Joe Ryan.
I see. See, mental case for your words, not mine. That's not where I was.
Yeah, absolutely. Have I also mentioned I have a dog named Jack? Jack Ryan.
Nice. I just want to culminate, Mr. Ryan, everything that was covered here in kind of a statement/question. How bad do you think your numbers are going to be when it's August and you're playing for the Yankees with that short porch in right field? So it's going to be even more damage from left-handed hitters.
I'm just going to blame the umpire like I always do. I'm also hoping that I can probably go to San Diego instead of New York. So who really knows? because I'm just going to play out my last 2 years of team control and then hopefully get a $150 million from a team.
I don't
San
mean to
Diego's
extend
probably
your
better fit.
section, but do you have a no trade clause for any?
Oh, I'm arbitration. I don't
Okay,
have
I'm
anything.
sorry.
And any other questions for me, or can I go back to smoking weed and probably riding a skateboard?
Go back to your.
Remember, Joe, no hot takes on this show.
Hot takes or hot boxing? There's a difference. All right. Well, all right. Goodbye, everyone. Who's next? Sam? Why not Sam?
Yeah, I can go next. I'm JJ Piccolo, and I am speaking on behalf of the entirety of the Royals organization. And my New Year's resolution is to be a serious organization, to conduct my business in the organization in accordance with the level of talent that we have on our team. Because a lot of people say that we're a win now team, the Kansas City Royals, and I agree with that. And so we need to make moves and acquire players and do things in a way that a win now team would do. Because we didn't do that last year. Because last year we brought back MJ Melendez, we brought back Hunter Renfroe. We had some guys hang around on our team for much longer than they needed to. That was a very silly way to run the organization. Very goofy, very other words meaning non-serious.
I'm sorry, Mr.
so
Cole,
this-
I hate to interrupt you, but I think I see Jonathan India very interested in this conversation about cutting players too soon.
Well, you see, the thing about Jonathan India is he's better than MJ Melendez and Hunter Renfroe. So I'm going to get a pass on that for right now from the fans, but we'll see how things go in the future. And by the way, I think JJ Piccolo, is off to a good start with this offseason, acquiring Isaac Collins from the Brewers, Lane Thomas, other players. We'll have to follow that, obviously. So I think one of my biggest goals for 2026 is going to be to acquire one of these players that we've been tied to, whether that happens to be Teoscar Hernandez or CJ Abrams or Jaron Duran, and to not have a situation like we had last year where we have just a giant gaping hole in our team. And I'm also going to cross my fingers and hope that our top first base prospect can turn things around in right field this season. So that's my New Year's resolution, is to be serious about my organizational moves.
Now, two things. First of all, I just want to say I really appreciate two GMs coming on the call. Like, that's super, super beneficial and really helpful for you guys. Thank you so much. Number two, what I need to know from you, Mr. Sir, is Piccolo. Is that it?
Sir.
All I can think of is Piccolo, and I think Sam's cutting out. But does anyone else see Sam? Is he frozen?
Yeah, he looks like he's frozen.
Okay. I might hold my comment until he comes back.
I know I can be Mr. Piccolo though. Like,
Well, Mr. Piccolo, what I need to know is when you talk about being serious, like, is it being serious to acquire what you need to win now, to win during Bobby Witt Jr.'s prime, or is it to use 2026 as a springboard to be more serious in 27 and 28? I think that's my biggest question mark with where the Royals organization's at.
as a stand-in for Mr. Piccolo, I would argue that if I am going if I am still using 2026 as a launching pad, even though I've been having back-to-back winning seasons for the third time in 36 years, I think that is a mistake. I also saw, I think it was from The Athletic, that my ownership group has also maybe handcuff me in adding on additional payroll. So I might have room. I can maybe make a pitch for a Teoscar Hernandez, but I think in order to acquire someone, I'm going to have to trade a Chris Bubich or a Jonathan India, who for some reason, whether I knew this at the time, the 8 million projected salary for Jonathan India may have been spent in a wiser capacity, but that's just me as a stand-in. The real Mr. Piccolo here is now Mr. Piccolo is handing over his hat.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate Mr. Stand-in Piccolo. Just to clarify though, so even though we want to win now, and especially during Bobby Witt's prime, it isn't necessarily that 2026 is our year. It's the fact that one of the next couple years is our year, and we're going to do what we have to this year to get there.
I think that's a fair point, and I think there is a little bit of a transitional period going on. But I think the other thing is, this is the Kansas City Royals, and we are a team who made the World Series or who made the playoffs as a wild card in 2014, won one of the biggest comebacks in MLB history in the wild card game that year, just to make it to the next round. And then we proceeded to take that all the way to Game 7 of the World Series that season. So it can happen any year. There's no, this isn't the year. It can happen any year. So why don't we go ahead and do everything we can, even if we don't think this year will be the best chance we ever have? Because no one thought 2014 was going to be the year that the Royals were going to do something. And like I said, the Royals took it all the way to Game 7 of the World Series that season.
Thank you very much.
All right. I don't know. Dan, why not?
All right, last one. I am Jeff Desargens. Easy for me to say.
It is your
And
name.
you probably, one, don't know how to pronounce my name, but two, don't know who I am, because I am the Guardians head trainer. And let me give you a little bit of context on why you're speaking to me right now. This team, like most baseball teams, has a bunch of outfielders on it. You already talked to Mr. Valera earlier. As he mentioned previously, there's only been one time since he became a pro back in 2018 that he's played 90 or more games in a season. Our top prospect, who's probably going to play center field, even though he doesn't really play center field very well, Chase DeWater, he's been a pro for 3 years. The most games he's ever played in a season is 57. CJ Kafis came up last year. He played a little bit of right field. He was pretty good, but he's played 2 pro years. He's played 108 and 86 games a year. And then you guys all are aware of Stephen Kwan. Stephen Kwan's a very nice ball player. Great defensive left fielder. Great bat to ball talent. But look, 2 years ago, his OPS in the first half was 920. In the second half, it was 618. And then in 2025, last year, his OPS through May was 813, and it was 646 the rest of the way. He's a little guy. He's like 5'8", 175 pounds. It sure seems like 162 games is really hard for him to get through. I mean, he was on the IL twice in 2024. He was on the IL early in 2025, then went to the All-Star game, came back from the All-Star game, had to take a break for like a week and get a cortisone shot, which I administered, of course, because I'm the head trainer of the Guardians. But point being, we've got all these outfielders, and there seems to be continuing semblance of injury proneness or trying to stay on the field, but kind of just deteriorating as the season goes on. So my New Year's resolution as the head trainer of the Cleveland Guardians is to try to keep all of these outfielders healthy, because it sure don't seem like the front office is doing much to add anybody outside to help these outfielders. And we're going to need these guys to be productive. So I've invested in a gigantic roll of bubble wrap, and we're going to start with that as the first thing that we're going to try to keep these guys healthy.
So once again I appreciate getting a different perspective from the clubhouse, being a trainer. So thank you again for joining. But my question for you is, when we talk about realistic resolutions, like, is that a realistic resolution? I struggle, given the last couple of years.
Quan in particular has been healthy and been able to perform over the course of the 162 before. So, I mean, that one's not a given, but I think is achievable. I think Kafis is, like I said, 108 games. He's played deeper into seasons. He may not have to play every day anyway. I think that's reasonable. Valera and Delauder seem like they're incredible talents. I have some serious reservations about if they're actually going to be able to stay on the field as much as would be needed. If we can keep one of those guys healthy, I will consider that a win.
And not having Lane Thomas, I'm not sure what his current status is, but I don't believe he's on the Guardians this
No,
year.
he's on the Royals now. And man, did he give me a lot of headaches last year with that plantar fasciitis. I did not know how to fix that. And for some reason, I advised him to wait until September to get surgery. So,
okay,
you live and you learn, I guess.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions for Mr. Desjardins before we move on?
How long have you been the
left.
Guardians athletic trainer?
Jeez, I don't know.
Why don't you check out my baseball reference page?
Yeah.
All right, Lee, what do you got? Bring us home.
Early 2024 is when I was appointed. So there you go.
Okay. So not long.
Yeah. Not long.
All right. So a little bit boring, since two others already did kind of similar train, but my name is Scott Harris. I'm the president of baseball operations for the Detroit Tigers. I act as a GM. I don't know what Jeff Greenberg does, but I'm basically the one who's doing all the sorts of general managing stuff. I've been with the Tigers for 3 years now. In those 3 years, I took over an organization that was very behind in terms of a lot of the more modern analytics, especially in our minor league system. And now going into 2026, my team just made the ALDS for a second year in a row, has a top tier minor league system, and has a lot of young players who have a lot of potential going to move forward. Now, myself, I've had a lot of personal success with some of the other management that I've been a part of. I was part of the Cubs in 2016 when they won the World Series. I went to the Giants and was very successful there, and now I'm with the Tigers and I've had some success, though I haven't quite made it as far as we would like. But personally, I've noticed that I tend to not really take many risks, and I don't really get myself out there quite as much. So I'd like to be a little bit more spontaneous in 2026. Take a spontaneous road trip, or go on make a little bit of rational purchases, or trade away some prospects for a long-term player, a right-handed bat that can really help this team take a next step forward. So that's my 2026 New Year's resolution, is to take a little bit more risks and try and take a step forward with myself.
Now, is that take any risk or take calculated risks?
I take some calculated risks.
Okay.
I try to make the best decisions for this team, and I rely very heavily on kind of more modern analytics and that kind of thing.
Now, would you consider a risk? Would you consider trading away your 2-time Cy Young winning pitcher back to back for insert thing here? Would you consider that to be a risk you would want to take?
Ooh, can I actually add on to that question?
Shoot.
Can the question be, would you rather trade your 2-time Cy Young winner, who's one of 2 of the best pitchers in the world, or extend him? What is the bigger risk?
Well, as we all know, Tarek Skubal is a very important piece of this Tigers team. And we would love to have him to continue on with the Tigers as long as possible. I have to consider a multitude of factors going forward in terms of what. But for now, we're just focused on having Tarek Skubal on our roster for 2026, and extension talks will not be taking questions about that at this time.
Alternatively, I was really intrigued by your statement about maybe taking a risky purchase, making a risky purchase at some point. Now, to make those typically, you might have to part with some prospects, right? And now the good news, from what I understand, Mr. Harris, is that Detroit has the sixth ranked minor league system in the entire league. Second in the division only to the Guardians, which is the second thing you've fallen second to them in recent memory. But that is beside the point. Would you be willing to part with some of those fantastic prospects, perhaps McGonigal or Clark or something to that effect, in order to achieve your more present goals?
I think in terms of for our prospects, I love all of our prospects equally. They are all my favorite children. I think we want to hold on to McGonigal and Clark because they are going to make more of an impact immediately in the future. I think both of them will have an impact on the major league roster in 2026 in some part, but we have lots of other prospects that maybe we don't necessarily have room for that we can definitely trade away and try and get some good return and fill holes that we have. Such as we currently have 4 catchers on the 40-man roster, and one of our top prospects, Josue Briseño, is a catcher, and we also have Theron Lorenzo, who's a very highly ranked prospect. That we don't necessarily need to have a lot of these all catchers and first basemen on our 40-man and to hold on to in our system that we're just not going to have room for in the future.
Now, when you talk about risky purchases, and Dan, I think that was a great reference, but I kind of look more towards like Lucas Giolito now that Michael King's off the market. Do you see a risky pitching spend to help Skubal over the course of the next 2 years?
Yes, I definitely think that pitching is definitely an area where we can spend some money on and bring that. We don't
take a
necessarily
calculated
want
risk,
to,
if you will.
yes,
in your
we don't
words.
necessarily want to spend money on the big names just because they are big names. But if we find someone that can help us towards our roster and make contributions and make our team better, then that's definitely something that we can do. All right, I'm going to take off my Scott Harris hat now. But yeah, you can take some risks. We haven't done a lot of that. I'm not saying just sign Alex Bregman for the sake of signing Alex Bregman. I don't think he's going to be I don't think he would be necessarily a good fit at Comerica just because of the left field wall thing. But again, he also hit 2 home runs when he was here, against us. But my point is, take some risk, trade away a prospect, sign someone for more than 2 years. We don't need to just keep holding on to all of these guys. I'm going to get on this until this changes. We have 4 catchers on the 40-man, 2 of them in minor in AAA. We don't need all of them. I'm
sure there's teams that would take Dylan Dingler just for his name.
No, Dylan Dingler is ours. You can't have him.
Now, I will say, just reflecting on this whole idea of resolutions, I think it's very interesting to to potentially come back here in May, or April, May, June to see kind of where each of us our resolutions end up being. But I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah, I do think on the question of Skubal, but I think if he was going to be traded, he would have been already. It would have had to happen in winter meetings. He's going to be on the team for 2026. That's what I'm sure of. Extension, no idea. But they're not talking about it. It's not going to be in the talks until the season ends. That's what I think.
And I just really enjoyed that you did the company line answer still.
I did like that.
On point.
That was awesome.
And I do just want to point out to the whole team that we are 47 days, as of recording, 47 days to spring training, 59 days to the World Baseball Classic, and 80 days until opening night. And I gotta say, I'm ready.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I miss baseball. We passed the halfway point. The Lions are being miserable. I'm like, all right, give me baseball again.
I gotta check the Bears score. Hold on.
Lions are winning 13-0 last I checked.
We always win in the last 2 minutes, so it's okay. Not worried about it.
I don't care.
Well-
We secured our 4th place schedule. That's the important part.
Insert joke about 2-minute performance. But I think with that, we're over 2 hours here. We should probably pack it in. I mean, who knows what they're going to do over the next week. I think the plan is to record next week. But if absolutely nothing happens, we'll see. We at least reserve the ability to maybe go to bi-weekly because it has been a drought as far as moves. So with that, I think we're going to leave you all until next week or whenever we see you next time.